If you have no idea how to create a healthy plate, how to eat the right portion sizes, or how to make a simple balanced meal, then this video is for you. A few months ago, I made a video titled How to Create a Healthy Plate, and it is my most popular video on my channel. So I thought that I would recreate it with one, better video quality, and also more new and improved tips. If you want to see that old video, then it will be right here. It has other good information that I'm not going to be covering here. And now back to the new and improved how to create a healthy plate. And also while I talk, I'm going to be creating my healthy plate with you. The plate method works for a lot of people. It's for people who want to eat balanced meals, but they don't want to be tracking and measuring everything that they eat. It's for people who maybe started eating vegetarian or vegan and have no idea how to balance out their meals and get all of the right macronutrients. And it can be for people who have no idea whatsoever what ingredients to put in a meal in order to make it healthy and balanced. So the first thing you want to do for this plate method is to grab a plate. And you can also use different sized plates depending on your height, your size, your sex, your appetite. Apparently a good size for adults is 9-inch plates. I have no idea how many inches this is because I use the metric system like normal people. So the first thing you're going to do is fill up half of your plate with veggies. In this half of the plate, you can opt for non-starchy veggies. Starchy veggies are super healthy as well, but we won't be putting them in that half of the plate. So good veggies to put in this half of the plate are greens, and you can also put other veggies such as artichokes, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cabbage, celery, eggplant, leek, mushroom, pepper, turnips, or zucchini. You can also eat some raw veggies such as carrots, tomatoes, salad, cucumbers, radishes. And this half of the plate can also be filled with fruit if you're a person that likes to mix fruit and veggies together, salty, sweet, whatever. You can also put fruit in there. From the veggies, you will be getting tons of fiber, and you'll also be getting minerals, vitamins, polyphenols, and tons of good stuff. If you are part of the unlucky people who hate vegetables, check out this video I made on how to eat healthy even if you hate vegetables. The second thing you need to do is to add protein to 1/4 of your plate. Like I often say, I personally believe that plant protein is better for you than animal protein, but you're free to put whatever protein you prefer on your plate, of course. So the proteins I like to put in my plate are beans and legumes and quinoa and soy-based food items like tofu and like soy protein and stuff like that. Black beans, chickpeas, lentils, kidney beans, pinto beans, they're all perfect. Nuts are also a good source of protein. They are very rich in fat, which is not a problem at all, but just be aware of it. Don't put like 1/4 of your plate of only nuts. And the last 1/4 of your plate should be carbs. Carbs are delicious and nutritious and excellent for your health, like I talk about on the video right here. If you think that carbs are bad for you, you should really watch this video. So this is where the starchy vegetables come in. Vegetables like sweet potatoes, peas, corn, butternut, potatoes, everything like that. You can also have grains. Whole grains are best, but any grains will be fine. So you can have barley, brown rice, bulgur, quinoa, whole wheat pasta, or whatever grains you prefer. And now your plate is full, but there are a few things that you shouldn't forget. First of all, don't forget the fats. Some healthy fat is super important to your diet, and you may be already finding a good amount of fat in the food that you've already put on your plate. For instance, if you use avocado as your veggies, if you use nuts as your protein source, and if you use olive oil, anything like that, you'll already be getting some good fat in there. But if not, make sure to add some fat to your plate. So here is my finished plate. It is delicious and healthy and balanced. People may also be wondering where dessert fits in. to this plate because I know it's super important, and dessert can be whatever you want as long as it's not a huge portion, if that's something that's important for you, if you're watching portion sizes, of course. But I personally have almost always fruit for dessert because I love fruit and fruit is super healthy and you can't get enough of it. Sometimes I also have a slice of cake or a plant-based yogurt or stuff like that. But you can have whatever you like. Dessert is very important. It feeds your soul, so you don't have to skip it, don't worry. Drinks are also super important during your meal, and when I say drinks, I mean water. Of course, it's fine to have soda or juice or wine or whatever you want sometimes, but your main drink should be water, and it should accompany most of your meals. Also, I know that some plates, some old plate methods show that you have to have some dairy in your plate for it to be healthy. No, actually you have to have calcium in your food for it to be healthy, of course, but you can find calcium in so many other things than dairy. When you're eating greens and soy-based products, you'll be getting calcium, but you can always top that up with fortified plant-based milks. You might also be wondering about bread. What is bread? Well, as you probably guessed, bread is a carb, and it's totally fine to have bread, but just make sure that you're counting it as part of your plate. You know, it's not good if you have your plate with your little fourth of carbs and then you have an entire, do you guys have baguettes in the US? I don't know. I was gonna say an entire baguette, but probably gonna say an entire loaf of bread maybe. Again, unless of course you don't care about portion sizes and you eat intuitively and you want all of this bread, then do whatever you want. I'm just talking for people who are wanting to have balanced portions. I remember as a French person, I was shocked when I went to the US and people would have like a whole plate of spaghetti and meatballs and have garlic bread as a side for that, and multiple people did this. And it was just not logical to me. I was like, you're already having a plate full of carbs. Why would the side be more carbs? So bread is fine, of course. Just make sure that you don't go overboard, as with everything else. Also, I want to point out that foods don't always fit into one macronutrient category. Actually, none of them do. But I mean, some of them don't even mostly fit into one. For example, quinoa, I use it as both my protein source and my carb source. So in this case, when you make your plate, say that 1/4 of your plate is for quinoa, then you can have 1/8 of your plate be for another source of carbs, and then 1/8 of your plate be for another source of protein. So, I mean, it sounds kind of complicated, but when you look at your plate, it's super easy. Or you can also see quinoa as your whole protein source and then have carbs, other carbs on your plate, and you can see quinoa as your whole carb source and have other protein on your plate, whatever you want. Now, you might be thinking that eating like this is super boring and reminds you of the compartmentalized kid lunches that you had at school. And I totally get you. You obviously don't have to make all of your plates look like this. In the example plate I'm showing you, I don't have it all divided by halves and fourths. It's all kind of mixed together, and that's because I've been really using this method for a long time and now I'm used to it. I know how to balance out my meals, so I don't really need that anymore, and that can totally be for you as well. Once you really master the basics of the plate method, you're going to start to naturally see what kinds of foods you can put into your meals, and you won't have to actually portion them out on your plate. When you're making a full dish, like for a family, and you are cooking in a huge pot, it's really easy to respect the proportions of the plate method. You just put half of veggies in that pot, 1/4 of carbs, and 1/4 of protein. Super easy. And then just give everyone a full plate of the pot. And I really want to say that you don't have to balance out all of your meals, like every single one of your meals. Nobody does that except people who are like professional bodybuilders, or maybe, I don't know. It's fine to balance out your meals over a day or even a few days. That's what I mostly do. I'm a big fan of having a huge plate of pasta pretty often. So when I do that, then the next meal I'm gonna be having more protein and veggies, and that's totally fine. Also, I know that people might be wondering why I promote intuitive eating, but I'm also here talking about how to portion out your food in a plate. I think that there are tons of people who just have no clue how to eat balanced meals. Of course, if you are an intuitive eater, then I believe that you will naturally be attracted to balanced meals, healthy meals. Again, they can be balanced throughout a few days. It doesn't have to be each meal. But I believe that if you don't have all this general knowledge on nutrition and portion sizes, then you need to learn it, and the best way to learn it for me is to use the plate method. So on that note, I really want to encourage you to listen to your own body and to do whatever feels right for you. I have to be honest, I often put much more carbs than 1/4 of my plate because that's the way I fuel up, that's the way I feel good, and whenever I don't have as many carbs, I feel hungry a few hours later, and I just don't like that feeling. So I have usually more carbs than 1/4 of the plate, and that's totally fine. Everybody needs to find the balance that works for them. These are just guidelines to help you get started in the beginning if you have no idea what you're doing. I also want to answer a question that I had in my previous video, and that is, so what do the breakfast and lunch plates look like? And the answer is you decide. If you want, your breakfast, lunch, and dinner plates can all look like the ones I showed you. There are no rules as to which foods you're supposed to consume during which times of the day. But if you prefer a more sweet breakfast, for instance, then you can totally still follow the plate method. You can maybe have a bowl of oatmeal with some fruit and some nuts to get all of those healthy macronutrients in and kind of divide them up using the plate method. And for snacks, same thing. You can totally use a mini plate and still divide your food according to the plate method. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like it and subscribe, and see you on my next one. Bye.